Would you be willing to undergo an independent medical evaluation that included neurological and cognitive tests and release the results to the American people?
Look, I have a cognitive test every single day. Every day I have that test. Everything I do.
Biden supporters like Harry Sisson have officially devolved into schizophrenic delusion, and one could argue it has always been delusional to be a Biden supporter, but it's gotten so bad that even the mainstream media is fact-checking people like this in real time. So with that said, folks, if you enjoy the content, be sure to hit that like button down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. But let's just get into this because I think it is better to just show you what is going on. So Harry Sisson yesterday tweeted out that President Biden had a neurological exam and doctors declared him perfectly fit to serve. Now, this is in contrast to what was revealed in the ABC interview. But okay, all right. Let's take a listen to what Harry Sisson has to say about Joe Biden's cognitive state when we can not only observe the things that are going on with Joe Biden publicly, but even in the interview, he refuses to receive an independent cognitive exam. But Harry Sisson is in such denial of reality. He's just saying, no, he did take the exam. All right, let's take a listen.
It's so crazy to me how everybody just ignores that Joe Biden had a neurological exam this year and they declared him fit to serve. This was done during President Biden's physical earlier this year, and it's public. Like, you can find it on the White House website. It says an extremely detailed neurologic exam was again reassuring and that there were no findings which would be consistent with any cerebellar or other central neurological disorders such as stroke, multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's, or ascending lateral sclerosis, nor are there any signs of cervical myelopathy. No motor weakness was detected. He exhibits no tremor. He demonstrates excellent fine motor dexterity. So he had this exam and they declared him fit to serve. This was done by doctors and neurologists. So I don't know, when you have this extremely detailed report that's very public for everybody to read, and it's going down the list of how President Biden is perfectly fit to serve and that there's no concern about a neurological disorder, maybe we should listen to the doctors and not Republican pundits in the media.
Okay, so the first thing I notice about this White House medical report is that notably there is no mention of Alzheimer's or dementia. Like, that's kind of a self-own. I mean, nobody's really been accusing Biden of having Parkinson's or multiple sclerosis. No, people are saying he has Alzheimer's or dementia. But the greater point here is that this comes from what? The White House doctors. Now, you could say, oh, but they're still doctors. They're going to tell the truth. You really think the White House would publish information from a private medical report of doctors of their choosing that there's something wrong with him? No, the point has been people are asking Joe Biden to undergo an independent medical examination away from his own doctors, and that way the American people can see the results there. Like, Harry Sisson is seriously this defiant. Let's remember, I talked about this last time, but I'll talk about it again. Biden said that he will not commit to an independent cognitive test when asked in the ABC interview, because if you remember, we'll play the video right here so you know I'm telling the truth. George asked Biden, hey, you know, I know your White House doctors say you're fine. Of course, the White House doctors are going to say he's fine. And even if they don't, the White House is not going to publish that information. Would you undergo an independent cognitive test? And notice how Biden refused to answer or commit to that. Take a listen.
Would you be willing to undergo an independent medical evaluation that included neurological and cognitive tests and release the results to the American people?
Look, I have a cognitive test every single day. Every day I have that test. Everything I do. You know, not only am I campaigning, but I'm running the world. And that's not how it sounds like hyperbole. But we are the essential nation in the world. Madeleine Albright was right. And every single day, for example, today, before I come out here, I'm on the phone with the Prime Minister of, anyway, I shouldn't get into detail, but with Netanyahu. I'm on the phone with the new Prime Minister of England. I'm working on what we're doing with regard to in Europe.
As you can see and listen here, Biden will not commit to an independent cognitive test. When he's asked about it, he tries to deflect. He tries to take the question in another direction. So, Harry, I don't understand the point of you making that video, truly. You kind of proved the point. because when asked about it on ABC, he said he would not do a public one. Support Biden if you want, truly. But that's kind of a stupid video to make. Now, notably, it's getting so bad in the mainstream media because he says it's just Republicans and their pundits. Okay, we just talked about how ABC asked them, and they published a whole article about how he will not commit to an independent cognitive test. But check it out. The CNN doctor, you guys remember this guy from the COVID pandemic? Dr. Sanjay Gupta of CNN calls for Biden to get cognitive testing. So let's take a listen here. This is very hilarious.
CNN's chief medical correspondent, Dr. Sanjay Gupta, is calling on President Joe Biden to undergo cognitive testing and share his results with the American people after what he calls, quote, concerning behavior at last week's presidential debate.
But wait, I thought it was just Republican pundits, Harry. But of course, this is the new blue anon conspiracy theory. They're so backed into a corner. Like I said, they are descending into such schizophrenic, paranoid delusion that everyone is Republican MAGA propaganda, guys. ABC, CNN, MSNBC, these are notoriously conservative networks, and they are just fascists who are trying to undermine the Biden presidency to make sure Donald Trump is elected. Okay, sure. But let's take a listen.
Sanjay Gupta is joining us right now. Okay, so Dr. Sanjay Gupta, I mean, what provoked you to do this?
Well, Fred, good morning. First of all, this is not a political essay. It's a medical one. And I think a lot of the things that, people saw at that debate weren't necessarily new, but they were sustained. And I think more pronounced than what we had seen in the past. And I think that's what really provoked the essay. I think that the question really being raised is, have we been looking at episodes, intermittent episodes, or is this reflective of some sort of deeper underlying condition? And that's what I really wanted to get at. Let me tell you a few of the things that specifically jumped out. And I will also mention, as you're looking at some of these specific signs that neurologists noted, that after the debate, I got a lot of calls, texts, emails from my neurology and brain science colleagues from around the world, frankly, sort of highlighting some of these things. But if you take a look, slow response time, I think we saw that, sort of in a sustained fashion. Definitive.
It's just brutal. It's just absolutely brutal. Now, you could speculate on the intent of this. Maybe the media wants Biden to drop out, either because it'll be good for ratings because they'll break the news, but maybe also they're scared of losing to Trump, whatever it is. My point here is not even to comment on that today. It's just, again, Harry Sisson and all these people are saying, Biden passed the cognitive test. Why don't you listen to the doctors? Or here you have the CNN doctor. This is not the Fox News doctor, right? This is not Dr. Oz. This is the CNN doctor, who is a total shill for the regime during COVID, is bringing this up. It says slow response time, word retrieval mix-ups, rambling speech, reduced voice volume, reduced facial movements. Of course, I'm sure Sanjay Gupta is paid off by MAGA, and that is the only reason he is saying these things. It's just hilarious. Like I said, just pure schizophrenic delusion on the Biden surrogate part. But
for example, that can actually affect cognition in the sense that people may have more flattened affect, face, and not really be speaking as quickly or as loudly. Now, if he were my patient, if he were my dad, frankly, I would want to get more testing done, cognitive testing and more detailed movement disorder testing as well. Now, you've heard, Fred, what the White House has said about this. They say, look, it was a bad night for him. He had had late nights. He had had jet lag. He had a cold. We heard he wasn't taking any medications for that. And those things can cause temporary brain fog, if you will. But again, this idea, are we looking at episodes of something? Or is this a condition that should be more fully investigated? And it really seems to be more of the latter.
Well, let's go through that. First of all, late nights. I mean, that's kind of discrediting when you're the president of the United States. I mean, you have to take calls and meetings late at night, especially with foreign leaders. World War III could break out at 3 a.m. in the morning and you wouldn't know. So, but that aside, you know what that's called? Not being able to handle the late nights. It's called sundowning. Research this. It's very common in people with Alzheimer's or dementia. Okay, so that's arguably what you could say is going on there. So I don't think that's much of an excuse. And, the White House is saying Biden can't be awake after 4 p.m. Yeah, that's very normal in a person who is leading the so-called free world. We have jet lag. That doesn't make sense either. Biden had not traveled internationally for 12 days before the debate. So if it is true, he was still jet lagged after 2 weeks. It's probably because he's not in very good health. And of course, the cold, they said that he was not taking any medication. Well, that's not very believable either. You're about to go on the debate stage and, you're not gonna, I don't know, take some cold medication, take some cough drops. I mean, it's just ridiculous. But either way, it's pretty funny to CNN running this segment. And let's take a look at the comments because I'm very curious to see what the CNN viewers are saying about this. But I'm actually looking right now. I've never seen this before. It looks like a lot of CNN viewers are in agreement here. So this is hilarious. It says, I think all presidents should be tested. A cognitive test would settle the issue quickly. Let's have a neutral test for both candidates by the same testing staff. This should be required for every presidential candidate. The debate was an adequate cognitive test and he failed it miserably. So I guess even CNN viewers are, saying the same thing. So I guess according to Harry Sisson, those folks too are, again, MAGA propagandists. This is the line. This is the conspiratorial, ridiculously delusional behavior of the Biden supporters, which apparently at this point, it doesn't even look like exist on CNN. Just unbelievable. With that said, folks, let me know your thoughts on all of this. By the way, trust the science, okay? Trust the science. Let me know your thoughts on all of this in the comment section down below. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and until next time, Alpha Moves Only, God bless. Have a very great rest of your day, and peace.